show off the differences in the puzzles, but for now, these are the three characters we're going to be spending our time with so far. So let's talk to this guy here.
I hope you're not here to visit the cave, because we're closed. A gruesome and horrific accident has occurred, and there's no way we can open. No way. I shudder to even describe to you what has transpired.
There's a Nicki Minaj concert! Ah!
Your every thought. Well, if you insist. When I came in, we had no trinkets to sell in the gift shop.
The horror!
Oh, the humanity. I'll never be the same. Some things you can't unsee. What am I gonna do now? I can't lose my job. I need the health insurance. The cave is doomed without gifts. How am I gonna make my fiscal quarter projections now, huh? This is the end of the cave.
This is the start of the cave, motherfucker.
There's nothing to experience here except bitter disappointment.
So what we have to do, we're going to be introduced to our first quest soon, but basically, the cave is as much like an amusement park ride or attraction as it is like an actual geographical or geological thing of note anyway.
Damn hole in the ground without getting to buy an I caved and bought this shirt t-shirt. You know.
To see, oh, there we go. Now we trigger the quest. Sometimes you have to trigger the quest not just through dialogue, but from walking out.
Fine adventurers to partake in the unique experience that only the cave has to offer. I just need 3 small trinkets to sell. Just 3. Let me say that number again. 3. Take this giant novelty-sized key. It's cute, isn't it? Open the employee's back entrance. I'm sure you'll find some treasures worthy of the cave's gift shop.
Alright, so our goal here is to just open the employee-sized, or employees-only door at the back and then pick up 3 trinkets to give to this guy to sell as we move onwards. And you can probably tell by this part already that there is that trademark, both Double Fine and kind of like Ron Gilbert sense of humor in writing.
Funny little man, isn't he? I should probably fire him. I think he's dipping into the till.
And the voice acting, by and large, is excellent as well. And we're going to be introduced to kind of our first very much like point-and-click adventure style puzzle. If you weren't familiar with the cave's puzzle design before, you're gonna be now. So we're gonna have to use all 3 of these guys. We're not gonna have to use their powers yet, I think, but we're gonna have to use all 3 of these guys in order to solve the problems that we're dealing with here. So let's take a look at the elements of this puzzle. We've got levers. Do these do anything yet? Nope. We have an empty fuse box. We have a hot dog vending machine, a new grog machine, obviously a reference to New Coke. There's a bucket attached to that thing right there. And then there's like a broken old well. By the way, that's also concept art on the other side of the screen here that we can get. Not really concept art, it's actually like a way of telling the story of the game. But what we're going to do here is just pull this lever, and then by using our D-pad we can switch to other characters. So why don't we switch to the scientist for now, who's still holding this crowbar, although I don't think we have... Oh, we do have to use this a little later. And by hitting this lever at the bottom with the scientist, if I just flip back to our knight, that does give us enough to open up this door, and then we can take our adventurer. And we actually might be able to use the adventurer's special ability here. I think we could just make this jump, but why not use a grappling hook instead to make it a little bit more exciting? Then by hitting this lever, we will keep this door open for everybody else to come through. It's not absolutely necessary to keep all 3 people with you at exactly the same time. Most of the time you can get away with only 1 or 2 people being around. And now we're introduced to a brand new puzzle here. We're actually going to need our scientist because she has the crowbar. So let's get her up here. So our overall goal for now is just going to be to get that bucket, and that bucket is going to come in handy. Very much this is like an inventory-based puzzle game. It's much more like a, I don't know, like a Telltale style point-and-click adventure game, or a Double Fine style point-and-click adventure game, than it is, say... I should get this. Then it is, say, like, you know, like a Trine or something like that. So, by pressing X on these cave paintings, we get cave paintings, and these are going to tell the stories of the 3 people that we're using, kind of, like, atmospherically throughout the game. So, this is the first panel of the adventurer story. I should have more panels, but we'll get those a little bit later. So now, we just discovered, or we've known that she's discovered this beautiful diamond here. I'm probably not going to narrate all of the cave paintings that we come across, because that would be obnoxious. Now, by using our scientist... crowbar on this old well, we will be able to get this rusty crank, which is similarly the name that I have for my genitalia. There's also a fuse box here, but obviously we don't want to touch this, as if we do, it will shock us. But first things first, gotta take our scientist, and you can probably see where this is going. Puzzles in the cave start out being a little bit easy, but they will get very esoteric, and they do have that kind of typical, you know, point-and-click adventure game style where there's only one, oftentimes arbitrary solution. So for those of you who are into that kind of puzzle design, This is going to be awesome. For those of you like me who oftentimes struggle with that kind of puzzle design, things might get a little difficult for you. So we do have our bucket now. Let's get that. We can also find like the knight's first piece of storytelling here. I believe there's 9 cave paintings for each character. So he starts out as just merely a peasant boy here. It looks like that knight is going to have a heart attack, and maybe that's how he inherits the armor. Anyway, we have this bucket now. So we're going to take this bucket around. Never fear. This puzzle can largely be solved. Like the first few elements at least can largely be solved with only one person, but we will have to use cooperation by the end. And by the end of the game, we'll be using a good deal of cooperation, as well as the individual powers that are available to us. This is similarly the puzzle that was available at PAX, so I knew how to do this one like as soon as I booted up the game. So by putting that bucket there, now the water is no longer dripping onto the fuse box, which is important. So we're going to take our fuse. And this is an element that is going to be recurring throughout the game. We're just going to take it down here. By the way, there are ways to die in the cave. If I fall too far, if I fall on the spikes, I'll die, but I might as well just demonstrate it. So I fall on the spikes, and he'll explain it, I guess.
At least not this soon. So much left for them to learn.
Alright, so applying the fuse box here allows us to power up these vending machines. If we go to the new grog machine, we're just going to get a can of new grog. And whenever we get one of those in the game, we end up just drinking it. I'm not sure if that eventually ties into some kind of like achievement element. But, oh, no, put the fuse back in the fuse box. We are going to go to this hot dog machine. I apologize for solving this puzzle a little bit directly, but this should give you a feel for how the puzzles are basically involved here. You got to do one thing, that'll give you something that allows you to get another element to the puzzle, and eventually you'll find your way to the end solution. It's much less, again, like Trine, where it's just like, hey, there's a big gap, let's build a bridge over it. For better or worse, I love Trine and Trine 2, don't get me wrong. Now, with this hot dog, you can see, if you look over to the far left there, there's a monster. We can actually ring this bell. That might be a good idea. So let's just ring this bell, see what this monster does. As you can see, he's pretty pissed. So we're probably not going to want to just jump over this edge, even if we could. I think the spike might get us if we try to jump over, but even if we could just jump over it, this guy will just eat us. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to throw this hot dog out in the middle, because these monsters, and this will be a recurring theme in this game as well, love hot dogs. And this bell, we know, gets the monster to come out. So if we ring this bell, the monster will come out, eat the hot dog. Now this is not going to be good enough to kill the monster. He's not just going to fall on the spikes. So let's take our knight here, who is a little bit further ahead than our adventurer, and has thus become